Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of my show here on the Ben Zone. My name is Ben Cornett. Going over the Bucs Rams review from tonight's game. Quite a game. Before I do that, I want to introduce you to a co-host. Mr. Alex Schomber is in the house with me. He's also on NFL Edition Thursday nights on Bucs Report. Alec, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Ben. How are you doing?
Good, good. Quite a game. Um, if you like defense, this was the game for you. If you like offense,
This wasn't the game.
yeah, you're a little disappointed because not a lot of scoring. But again, these are two teams that are very similar. I said that Friday on the pregame on the preview, and both offenses very similar. They struggle in the red zone, struggle to maintain leads. Well, more with the Rams, and that proved to be today because the Rams had a lead pretty much throughout the whole game, and the Bucs were able to come back at the end. Tom Brady got a touchdown to Kate Otten, and by the way, congratulations to Tom Brady who got 100,000 yards for his career, and that's a record I don't think will ever be broken. So kudos to him for that. But Alec, why don't we get your thoughts on the game?
I mean, it's a win, but still have those flaws getting into the end zone. Still have to get that offense in the better position because the offense is too predictable for defenses. That if you're going to do the same game plan every game, do the same run pass, teams are all going to see that. They literally do film on it, and the reason the best way to do it is change your game plan each week so it's not the same one from the previous weeks. So that when everybody sees that team that's about to face you guys is watching the film, it's like wow, they literally do the same plays. But then again, at the end of the day, it's a win's a win. Hopefully, they can change how they do the offense, but you can't really guarantee guarantee that in this kind of situation because
Yeah,
I'm not in the locker room, so I wouldn't know.
yeah. Alec, you're saying about the offensive game plans and stuff. That has a part to do with it, but I think also there was the execution's been just as poor. Um, like for example, I'll take an example. People were knocking on Fournette today, and yeah, Leonard could have had a better game, but there's a play to start the second half where Leviett, one of the blockers, Nick Leviett, he just whiffed on a tackle. Now Fournette could have got at least 7, 8 yards, or maybe even a first down. But because of that missed tackle, Leonard got stopped pretty much at the line of scrimmage. It's little things like that that's been a big issue with this team this year. They haven't been able to execute, on many plays. And, I think, yeah, you can say what you want about Leftwich with the play calling, and you're not wrong. But at the same time, it's the execution as well. So it's both the play calling and execution. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I agree with that. It's just how that. I mean, you could see even with the offensive line, they kept saying it all game. Like every time we had a positive gain, it's the flags for the holding every single time that brings it back. There's
Yeah,
many
that's
times where we could have had that first down or a big yardage, but it's just the penalty is just if it's not one thing, it's another, and it just keeps biting them every time.
yeah, and you just brought that up, Alec. Sorry, um, the penalties. I mean, I'm pulling up the stats right now, like team stats. Here, I'm trying to find the penalties. Let's see. Here we go. Sorry, guys. Got my iPad going and other stuff going right now, but they had a lot of penalties today, Alec. Especially at the
Yeah,
line of scrimmage, the holding, Donovan Smith.
up for you.
Yeah, yeah, and Normally, if you have that many penalties, you're going to lose games. But again, we're playing a team in the Rams that are just as bad right now. Their offensive line's bad, and our defense kept us in this game. We were able to pressure Matt Stafford early and often. Um, they did run the ball on us pretty good, because again, we haven't been able to stop the run most of the season. But except the one play to Cooper Kupp on that throw by Stafford in the second quarter for that touchdown,
Oh, I got it
they
for
didn't.
you.
They didn't really do anything in the air. So we were able to hold them, at least in the passing game, and that's what kept us in this game. And that's the only thing that kept us in this game was the defense. It stepped up, big time. So, it allowed us to score late and get that win. So, as ugly as it was, if you're going to take a positive out of this, the defense starting to look like the defense that we've seen the last couple years. Now, in the run game, the run defense, not so much because again, we're giving up so many yards, and you know, let's see. I mean, we only gave up 68 yards, which is a lot better, but there were some good long runs that we were giving up. So if we can just keep it down under 80 yards per game, we have a chance in every game. We gotta fix the run defense, and our pass defense is fine. We're getting pressure, but once again, we gotta tighten up on the run game.
So I got the penalties for you. We had
Yeah,
7 for 55 yards.
yeah. See, anytime you get over 5 penalties a game, it's not good. And thank you for that, Alec. I appreciate that.
No problem.
So 7 for 55. That's not very good. If you have a game with five or less than 5 penalties, that's pretty good. But more than that, especially when they're pre-snap penalties, that's frustrating because that shows you a lack of discipline. And for a veteran team like now, I get it with some guys like Leviette and some of our younger guys. That's one thing, but when you have Donovan Smith, who um, once again he had holding calls today, it just shows you that he's a liability in pass coverage, and it shows you we miss Gronk because they would put him next to Smith on passing downs, and hopefully Kate Otten can not only be a good tight end receiving wise, but also a good blocker. But he hasn't gotten to that level yet. So that's what I'm hoping we get out of Otten and Kieft. You know, hopefully these two guys can start blocking better, help out our offensive line because again, it's a young group, and we have to rely on those guys like Hainsey who had to play center today. He did okay, but not. You expect more out of that position. So, what are your thoughts on the offensive line play today?
I mean, they definitely have a lot of questions. It's like they kind of use that excuse of where it's like, oh, it's like new players in the offensive line, like because players went down. But let's just be honest, it doesn't take eight freaking games. I mean, it took like 8 games for Tom Brady to know the offense. Last year, when he was his first year, when he started clicking with the offense, but after a while, after like, at least like 4 or 5 games, that's why the whole stuff with Tom Brady in the offseason, it kind of it toyed with him. Like you can't have that chemistry. Oh my gosh, like you gotta have that chemistry with your offensive line. But how would you know if you're not there?
Well, exactly, and again, it, Jensen, he was more than just a center. He brought that nastiness to the offensive line, and I didn't really see any. I still haven't seen that nastiness. That you know, hey, we're gonna you know knock you down. You're not getting near our quarterback. Yeah, Brady. did better today getting the ball out quicker, but again, they're not handling the pressure well. They're not toughening up at the line. And as I mentioned earlier, the missed blocks on some of the run plays and some of the passing plays. And another thing that kind of bothered me today was the fact that our receivers dropped a lot of passes. I mean, I've never seen a game where our guys like Evans, Godwin, you know, just dropped balls. I mean, it, that was frustrating because these guys usually are very reliable, and that cost us some key downs, cost us some first downs. So that kept our defense out there on the field. We couldn't move the ball, you know, during the game. So again, luckily we played a team in the Rams that, you know, they're a little better defensively than us, but offensively they're not as good as we are. And our defense, we're able to pressure Stafford, but again, our offense could have done a lot better had we converted on some of those passing downs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
So,
just reply back to this message real quick.
oh, great. Anything happens on live TV, got to check the messages. Well, we got some comments real quick. Let's check those out. Thanks for tuning in. Jason's here. Yeah. Hey, boys. Yay. Love hearing my sailor talk. All aboard. All right.
Oh,
That is Mr. Suede, by the way. Thank you for tuning in. Glad we can entertain you. So, yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about, to me, the player of the game. To me, and it's on special teams, Alec. Mr. Jake Camarda, man. Did you see the punts he made today? That was
yeah,
he
saw that.
pushed the Rams offense back, gave them very, you know, tough starting position on offense, man. And Todd Bowles gave him the game ball too, which I thought was great because he deserved it. He really helped us, you know, keep the Rams offense from being effective.
Yeah, I definitely like because that. I mean, yeah, see, I agree with that because it's like if you if you give them any like inch of room to get like a positive like at like the 30, hence like 35 ish,
Yeah.
game it down to the one, like the 1 to like 10, that helps out the defense because you're pinning them make towards like the end their own end zone, so it kind of helps the defense out. So that Jay Kamara came in clutch for that situation.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, one thing that kind of made me upset was they should have challenged that call. Remember the ball it just hit the green at the um, in the end zone, right before the end zone. They should have challenged that, the Bucs, because I think they would have won that challenge. That could have backed the Rams up. Now they didn't do anything with it on that possession, but I felt like they still should have challenged it and forced the Rams to, start in their own end zone, because you can get a turnover there. You can um, just make it hard on them. But I don't know why Bulls didn't do that. That was just a head scratcher to me.
See, though, I'm not sure if you noticed it, but you had like last year, like if you mess up a play, they call it like the Bruce Arians doghouse.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice how like this game, Leonard Fournette went to a doghouse. But the only thing like not many people like when they saw we got Rashad White, they're like, oh yeah, it's probably gonna be like another one of those players that just comes and go. But
Mm-hmm.
they they said I think it was like Tony Romo said on like the broadcast that Rashad White went over to the sidelines and told Leonard Fournette, he's like, "We need you. We gotta get this offense going." And seeing that with the team, at least the chemistry there is in the running back room. It's not like where everybody's being selfish with the ball. It's like that's what I like to see from the offense.
Yeah, yeah. I
No,
just
Jason.
see that sexy. Oh, come on! You don't want to come on camera? That's okay. You don't have to. Yeah. So we'll go over this one too. The like I said before, with the Rams offense, it hasn't been great. You know, they only had 9 first downs the entire game. So I thought that was very good. Our defense held them to just 9 first downs. Um, we got 18, which kind of surprises me because our offense just didn't move the ball that well, but yet we were still able to convert first downs. Um, Again, the rushing wasn't that good on both sides of the ball. The Rams rushed a little better, 68 yards. The Bucs only had 51 yards. So once again, that balance, I talk about it every week. We need balance on offense. The run game has to help the passing game. And
Did you?
today it
Oh, never mind. You already brought that up. I was saying like if you pulled like the rushing yards that we had compared to passing.
yeah, so we had 51 yards rushing. We had 272 yards passing. Meanwhile, the Rams had 138 yards passing, only 68 yards rushing. So both teams, again, they didn't have a lot of balance, and it shows you why this was a 16-13 kind of score, and it's crazy to think that last year these two teams would score at will, but only having a score of 16-13, it just shows you where these teams are at right now and why the records are what they are. The Rams are now 3-5, the Bucs are now 4-5. So both teams are going to have to start getting it going offensively, and if they want to, get far in the playoffs or even to make the playoffs. Now we're in a good position or a better position than the Rams are right now because our division isn't that good. We're 4-5 and leading the division tied with the Atlanta Falcons. So the Rams, meanwhile, are in third place at 3-5, looking above San Fran and Seattle, who we play next week. Seattle up in Germany. So, and I saw some of that game, and they were good today. Seattle played pretty well. Defensively, they were a little sluggish. They didn't tackle very well. They gave up some first downs where they could have got some stops, but for the most part, their offense was carried them today. So for the Bucs next week, and I'll do a pregame show on that coming up this week, but we got to start scoring
Yeah,
because
that's
yeah,
it.
go
Really
ahead.
does because it's like it's that situation where, for instance, you get the ball, you have like those 3 and outs. That defense that was tired from the previous drive
Yeah,
has to go back on that field. I'm not doubting that. Like I'm not saying the defense is terrible. Maybe sometimes when fatigue, it's them having to constantly go on the field because it's shorter. Like they have like quick 3 and outs or like short drives where they don't get the touchdown and they're off the field already. Maybe sometimes the defense is worn out. I mean, I wouldn't know fully. I haven't seen it in situations where we had defense like where offense actually went like a full drive and defense
yeah.
came back out. But that's what it's looking like. Like if you have to constantly go back on the field because your offense can't really because the defense is doing their job to get stops. It's the offense has to get going because they got lucky today. It could have been way worse, but the defense came through for them towards the end, like throughout the whole game. But sooner or later, you're gonna have to start scoring on each position to save let the defense rest before they have to go back on the field again.
Well, and that's the thing, Alec. Not only do we have to score, but we have to have the time of possession. Again, moving. moving the chains. That's what they talk about, and that's where the run game has to be better. Because on passing downs, if you catch the ball, the clock will move, but if you have incomplete passes, the clock stops. So by rushing the ball, you're going to staying in bounds. You're going to keep the clock rolling. That's what the Bucs need to do. They need to win the time of possession. That's very important. That keeps your defense rested, and that also helps your offense. So both have to help each other out. And if we're going to beat Seattle, we really need to have that balance because Seattle, surprisingly, their offense is clicking right now, and our defense needs to slow them down. But we also, on the other hand, we're going to have to score points on this defense, which can happen. They still gave up 21 points today, but the Bucs right now, I don't even think we're averaging over 20 points. So we need to start scoring, but we also need to start rushing the ball better blocking on the offensive line. That will help us keep that time of possession and keep Seattle's offense, Geno Smith, Lockett, Metcalf, and Kenneth Walker off the field. Isn't that right, Alec?
That's definitely right. Because even like the only reason why I say they got lucky is because the Rams, the running game, isn't like it was last year compared to years. But I mean, even last year and the year before that, you're going against a team that has Kenneth Walker, who just
Yeah.
got the starting spot. He's been going. I mean, he didn't have a good game today because I guess it's not really like he's more used for like red zone threat. So, I mean, like today he's using for more for red zone threat because they already had the lead. But if you get Kenneth Walker any chance, he will tear apart a defense. I've seen that since he's been starting for the Seahawks.
Yeah, and you
So,
got to remember too, he was injured to start the year, Alec. He missed like the first 3 or 4 games, I believe.
huh?
You know, he missed like the first 3 or 4 games this year. So you're getting a
Kenneth Walker?
fresh, yeah, yeah. He missed
Oh,
some
no, yeah,
games.
he was a backup for Rashad Penny.
Yeah, but I mean, he did miss some time, and now Rashad Penny's not in. So, um, yeah, I mean, Kenneth Walker I mean, he's just been incredible for Seattle. It's helped Geno Smith. It's helped the offensive line. That's what we need to do with Leonard Fournette and Rashad White. By the way, Rashad White, I thought had a couple nice runs today. And I noticed too that they said Fournette was a little upset, throwing a fit on the sideline, not getting enough plays. I guess there was an offensive possession on a drive where he just wasn't even in the game. But Rashad White, he gives you a pass catching presence, something that Leonard can't do. So that's why Rashad White was getting some more playing time as well. So, but both these guys have to step up, to help the offense for the Bucs. And so, yeah. So again, this was, yeah, you're right. Here's the penalties: 7 for 55 for the Bucs. That's got to get cleaned up. Um, Actually, we did control the time of possession today. We had 31 minutes, 16 seconds, while the Rams had 28 minutes, 44 seconds. But still, that's kind of even almost. So we need to kind of widen that gap if we're going to beat a team like Seattle next week.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Because I mean, before the season, everybody thought when they made that trade with Denver, they thought it was going to be Drew Lock in the start, and they thought Seahawks were going to be on a rebuild season, trying to see who their quarterback is. But then you start seeing them do the complete 180. They're still a dangerous team. They have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker. It's just it's amazing how they proved he proved the haters wrong.
Well, I mean, also they're a young team that, you know, they're playing with nothing to lose. You know, Pete Carroll's done a great job of, you know, getting these players, these young players, to believe and play beyond their will. And you could see that, you know, a lot of times the young players, you know, are going to play hard for you. You know, they're not making the big money like some of these other players are. So they're going to give you that extra effort. And you see that on both sides of the ball from the games I've seen Seattle play this year. You know, they don't lack any effort. You know, they go full blown. And, you know, that's what keeps a team like Seattle in pretty much every game. You know, not only in every game, but they've been able to dominate the time of possession, um, making the most of their opportunities in the red zone. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, controlling the clock with a guy like Kenneth Walker who can run the ball and just, you know, keep you going on offensive drives. So it makes it a lot easier for a Geno Smith to, you know, be able to make plays. Now he did have that pick six, which there's still some mistakes there. You know, he still has to learn
Yeah,
not to do that. You know, he sometimes he likes to make a play that isn't there, but it didn't end up costing him. But if our defense can make him do that, then we got a chance to win this game. You know, we just got to get to the quarterback, get to Geno Smith, make sure he's not, you know, make him uncomfortable, make him make some mistakes. You know, we couldn't do that with, you know, Matt Stafford. We got a couple sacks, but still, Matt Stafford, whenever he was able to get time, was able to connect with his receivers.
and then I'm not sure how many. I mean, everybody's speculating. I'm not even holding onto it that somewhere this, there was always those mid-season rumors that apparently Odell was in Tampa this week. I'm not buying that. They really don't need him. We already have receivers. Granted, if he wasn't injury prone, I'd take it, but it's more so if there's a free agent defensive player that'd be helpful on the defensive line and offensive line, I would take that. But
Well, yeah, I agree, dude, because offensive line's our big problem. You know, the receivers aren't the issue. We don't need more receivers. You know, yeah, it would be nice to have a Odell Beckham. It's nice to add a Ferrari to your collection of vehicles, but you know, again, it's one of those things where I think we need more help in other places than we do the wide receiver right now. We got to be able to execute our plays and have better blocking at the line. That's what we need, you know. And some of the play calling needs to be better. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice to get an Odell Beckham, but at the same time, is it an absolute necessary thing to get him, to have him? No, I don't think so. I think we got a little more things we need to worry about than just adding another wide receiver just to add another wide receiver, in my opinion.
yeah, plus it's not worth the investment because we took that investment on Julio Jones and look what that happened with that. I mean, yeah, he played today. But look how much he was inactive for. You'll get
Right.
the same thing with Odell Beckham. If they use him for like plays here and there, then yeah, but I still wouldn't even take him because like that's just a lot of risk you're taking, plus the money he would be asking for to be on there.
Well, not only that, Alec, but he's also got to learn the offensive playbook too. So it's going to take him a couple games coming off an ACL. You know, that's tough. Look at they were saying today. The announcers were saying it was Romo was saying that it's taken a little while for Godwin to get off of his torn ACLs. You know, to get it going, to see the the Chris Godwin that we come to know, the great receiver that he is. You know, he still needs to. He's just starting to get his feet back underneath him. becoming that receiver that he's always been. So bringing in Beckham, you're not going to get that Odell
Immediately.
from 5 years ago. All of a sudden, boom, you're getting that Odell. You're not. You're going to get a guy that's going to have to. It's going to take him a while. So, and we're already halfway through the season. So, I don't know. I just don't think it's necessary for us to go get him right now, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, I'm not really. I was never really high on getting. I want to say, what did even say getting a Odell Beckham Jr. Because you see, like, it's weird because it's like you see like the start of the season. Usually, like this all the injuries we had in, like training camp. Usually we get that mid season, but it's like a domino effect in the worst way. It's like
absolutely. Yeah.
because you get Jensen hurt, and then you put Hainsey in,
Mhm.
which granted he shouldn't have even been that in that game that long anyways for
Yeah.
preseason. If you're a starting center, why are you playing that many snaps anyways? But then again, I'm not a coach. I don't get paid enough to make those calls. I'm just a fan of the team. But
Yeah.
why? Like
Yeah. Because, I
it's one
mean,
of those situations where like you we usually have every Bucks fan know like usually we have these injuries around like week 5, 6, but we had the reverse effect. It has all in preseason. It's
well,
I
yeah.
don't
I
know.
mean, yeah. I mean, again, you can't predict injuries, dude. We couldn't predict Ryan Jensen getting injured like he did in training camp. You were there. Remember?
Well, I was there.
You
I was there the day before. So don't try that. I
oh,
wish that bad karma. I
no,
was
I'm
there the
not
day
blaming
before.
you. I'm just saying if, but it happened, in that time frame. And,
Yeah, I was
you know,
definitely there in Florida when it happened.
yeah. So you can't predict that. It's just one of those things where you got to play through it. And, you just wonder if Brady could have, there's always going to be those questions. Shouldn't he took that 11 days, 10 days off or whatever? Because you would have liked to see him get used to his new center and stuff like that. But it is what it is. Our offensive line, again, we're playing a lot of first, second year guys that haven't been in this situation long enough to, you know, be a top level offensive line. So hopefully with these games they got under their belt now, they can, each game they're going to get more experience, but it's not like you can just go out there and do the job, right away and boom, you got a great offensive line. It still needs more experience, more development. And again, it sucks that we have to have that. Why we have a Tom Brady on our team that's trying to go to a Super Bowl again. So we'll see what happens.
Try.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
we only got
Anything can happen in the NFL.
yeah, yeah, we only got 8 games to go. I mean, so this is crunch time now. After the Seattle game in Munich, we'll have the bye week, and then after that, we got to play teams like the Browns. Then we got the Saints, I think, Monday night. Then we got to go to San Francisco. Um, so yeah, we gotta we gotta start getting it going. Especially in this division where it's a winnable division. Nobody's gonna run away with this. So
It's like the NFC East of 2 years ago.
right, exactly. But now it's
It's
the
like
NFC.
who wants to win already?
Right, exactly.
I love
Just
anything blown, including leads.
yeah,
Okay.
I bet he does. Okay, I'm horny. Jeez. All right, good, Jason. That's appreciate that. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about the Bucks and Rams games. Is there any other games you thought today that stuck out to you? I think the biggest upset happened with the Jets over the Bills today.
Yeah, that was the one that threw me off. I mean, granted, I didn't get to watch the full game. I mostly saw the red zone.
Yeah.
But they said that like with Josh Allen when he was throwing, like he would just
Mhm.
grab his like shoulder. I think it was either his shoulder or was his arm, like his on his throwing arm. So it was kind of
Yeah.
causing him to like it was like pain through the whole game. So when I started seeing that, I was like, okay, now I can see why it's affecting. Because usually like, they throw like they're more of like they remind me of the Kansas City Chiefs when they had Tyreek Hill. Like he can just throw it in the air and someone's gonna catch it. But it's like that the fatigue in the arm, it kind of limits that so much. That's why he had to run the ball most of the time because he can't really. He has to rely on his running instead of throwing.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, Alec, is that the Bills still don't have a great running game.
They
It's
really
kind of like
don't.
us. It's kind of like us. We they don't run the ball very good either, and I feel like that could possibly be what prevents them from winning a Super Bowl. They need to have a better run game in the Bills. If they had that. Now they did make a trade for what's his name?
Naheem
Naheem
Hines.
Hines. Yes, thank you. So they made a trade for him. So hopefully that'll help their offense out because, again, as much as I like Josh Allen, I'm sure you do too. That you don't want to see him be your leading rusher. He's your quarterback.
Yeah,
He needs to be the quarterback, and they need to do everything they can to have a balanced offense. So today, and I haven't pulled up the stats on the Bills Jets games, but from what I've heard and seen, like they didn't do it. They were too pass happy, and the Jets were able to take advantage of some of those. Like Gardner had the interception, so that turned the game around for the Jets. They were able to win, and it's funny because the Bills are only a half game ahead of the Jets in first place in the division. Can you believe that? A half game ahead? No,
yeah,
I'm not
man.
kidding.
I mean,
Bills are,
I wouldn't. I'm not gonna doubt it because like the Jets,
yeah,
they're turning it around. Like
yeah,
their defense, they went to the draft like the last couple of years and started
hmm
building up on defense. And all you had to do was go into the draft this year and add on to the offense you had this year. Well, they went Sauce Gardner, or they went Brees Hall and Sauce Gardner, and started building like I'm trying to remember exactly. I think they showed like all their like the rookies they had. Actually, I had Seahawks. Never mind. But
yeah,
all of all the players that they got from last year's draft, and then the off season, all you had to do was build defense. The offensive line was never really the problem. It's not the best offensive line, but it's still good enough for Zach Wilson. All you had to
yeah,
do was
and
add a
yeah.
huh? Oh, my
Oh
bad.
no, no. Finish up, finish up.
It's just like I like before season, like once they had Brees Hall, it's like I may like during the off season, I've learned much from you, Johnny, and Alex. Like even when the Eagles were undefeated, I wasn't shocked with all the off season stuff they added, all the off season picks they had. It's like I'm not shocked that they're undefeated. Most people are, but I can't really to test that until they play and it goes to the playoffs because they're having like right now they're having a schedule the Steelers had. I think it was like 2 3 years ago when they went defeated. I
Mhm.
gotta see the Eagles in like a tougher situation to see where they line match up well. But I don't think you're not gonna find that until like the rest of the season because the way their schedule is, you won't see it until the playoffs. Not saying they're
Right.
a terrible team, like a fake undefeated team, but the playoffs is a whole different area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, they're winning the close games, so you know they're doing their part. But again, they still got to play Dallas twice, or they got to play Dallas again. They still got to play the Giants twice and the Commanders. So they still got 4 division games, and like I said, anything can happen in division games. Jets beat the Bills today. So,
Yeah,
um, since I'm from Vegas, I'll talk about the Raiders real quick. they
Oh
blew,
gosh.
they blew another lead, and they were up 17-0 in their game. Once again, man, they can't hold leads. They gave up a touchdown right before the half to Jacksonville, and then Jacksonville got the ball to start the second half. They scored a touchdown, so they were able to score twice in a row today. And the Raiders, their defense just cannot hold leads. I mean, they can't play a full 60 minutes of football, and the offense can't seem to move the ball, in critical situations, and especially in the second half. So I think the Raiders are done. I was wrong about them. I thought I had them winning the division. We were on the show on NFL Edition,
Yeah.
and
Oh gosh, I remember those.
I said the Raiders would win the division, and nope. So they're 2-6, and I think they're done.
Yeah, but I mean, we all had high hopes on the Broncos and the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, at least the Chargers won today, and they're still keeping their season alive. But so far they've kind of been a disappointment. They're 4-4, so at least they still got some hope and time to get a wild card at least. Whereas the Raiders 2-6 now, I mean, that's going to be a real tough hole to climb out of. Now they play the Colts out here next week. Could be a win, but if you lose to 2-5 Jacksonville, then I don't know how you're going to beat a 3-5-1 Colts team. So, just saying.
I think another one that really shocked me. I mean, it
Mhm.
didn't really shock me personally because I called it. Pretty sure you saw it this morning, but the Lions. I called it from the beginning of the day. I was
No, you
like,
didn't.
Lions are definitely going to win it. Like,
No,
like the
and
thing about the Lions is, like,
yeah,
it's the same thing with an average team. The more you don't score, the other team will
uh,
take advantage of it and just run with it. Like
no,
like Aiden Hutchinson had the interception in the end zone.
right, yeah.
And it's this Rogers. It's like they don't have that. They don't have that receiver besides Lazard. You can't really do much besides that. Once you take
Well,
Devon's,
there's 3 interceptions by Aaron Rodgers today. How many times has he had 3 interceptions in a game, let alone a season? I mean, not the same guy, and he just doesn't have the receiving core. The offensive line isn't very good, and with Detroit, you know, there's the talent's there, but once again, Golf struggled today. Um, the running game was decent, but it was their defense that really was able to keep them in the game, and they were able to take care of business. And Green Bay never got a lead on them. So if their defense can keep playing like that, and their offense can be a little better, I mean, they can be a lot better than what they are now. They're 2-6, and I'm just glad Detroit. I'm not a fan, but I'm glad for like Alex Loosemore, those guys. Um,
yeah,
they got that win. That just give them some hope. Because it was looking bleak for a while. If they lost this game today, um, I don't know, man. I think this
I was
this would
waiting
have.
for your Dan Campbell impersonations on Messenger. I was waiting for that back if I didn't get that shit today.
Yeah, we did it, Alex. Won the game for you today, buddy. Thanks for hanging in there. I knew our defense would win, and I'll tell you what, they showed a lot of heart out there. And I want to thank Aaron Rodgers. He helped us win this game too. Without him, we'd have lost another game, and my seat would have got hotter. But guess what? That's not the case. Alex Loosemore, rest of you Lions fans, the trajectory's going up, guys. We're gonna start winning games. So there you go. Good for the Lions. They're hopefully this helps them. They got to play. I believe it's the Giants next week on the road. So um, be a tough game, but like I said, if their defense can play as good as they did today, they have a chance. So I'm looking forward to that. Is there any other games that caught your eye today, or
Not really. Besides those two,
okay?
I'd rather not talk about that Patriots and Colts game.
I'd rather not. No, not seriously. The New England looked good. Their defense played really well. See the Colts. They have no quarterback. I mean, they've been another disappointment. I mean, you could say the same thing about the Colts as I did with the Raiders. They've been a disappointment. I had them winning this division, but now they're 3-5 and or 3-6-1, and I I don't know where they're going to go. I mean, I just I think the Titans are going to win this division even if they lose tonight. So right now it's 20-17 Kansas City in overtime. Tennessee's got the ball, and as you know, if the team that gets the ball first gets a field goal, then the other team has an opportunity to get a score. So Tennessee's still in it. I'm kind of surprised they went to overtime. I thought Titans had it in the bag, but the Chiefs were able to come back. So we'll see what happens there. I still think they got to run it to Derrick Henry. The run game's been there all night, but Malik Willis is going to have to make some plays too. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Is there anything else you want to add on, man? Or
No, that's about it on that one.
that's about it? Well, that sounds great, man. We first of all, I want to thank you, Alec, for coming on the show tonight. I appreciate it. And we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. But let's see. Well, we don't have any comments right now, but we'll just go over them again. Hey, boys. I don't care, man. Jason, thank you. As weird as you are, thank you for joining us on the comment thread. With that being said, we're gonna take off, but Victory Monday this week. Let's enjoy the week. We got a long week. The Bucs got to go to Germany, play Seattle. Tough game. Seattle's a pretty good team, and we'll see what happens there. Try and get a winning streak going. I'll have to do the pregame show. I'll have that Friday or Saturday. Alec, if you're available, come on and join me. We'll talk about that.
You said on Friday. You said Friday
Yeah.
or Saturday.
Okay. Well,
I mean, either day works for me.
Okay, great, man. Appreciate you coming on, and everybody, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. Comments, the views, good win for us. Let's keep it going. So, with that being said, I wish everybody a good night and a good week for everyone. Enjoy your week, and I will see you guys later. Thank you, Alex Schomber, and don't forget, every Thursday night, NFL Edition on Bucs Report on YouTube and Facebook. It's me, Johnny won't be in this week, but it'll be me, Alex Loosemore. I'm sure Alec will be joining us again, and hopefully Mr. Marty McKnight will be ready to come back, and we'll talk about everything that happened during the week, and we'll give all our picks for Week 10. So stay tuned for that. That's NFL Edition, Bucs Report on YouTube and Facebook, and I'll share that on the Ben Zone as well. So everybody, have a good night and take care, and I will see you later in the week.